The question of center-state relations is crucial to the preservation of the unity and integrity of India within the framework of its linguistic, cultural and other diversities. The several linguistic and cultural groups that inhabit the country were united before independence in their common aspiration for freedom from colonial bondage. They are today united in their common aspiration to build a prosperous life for themselves as well as to develop full national resources free from imperialist interference and according to their respective socio-economic, linguistic and cultural needs. The struggle for realizing these common aspirations make it incumbent on the governments at the center and the states, the political parties and the people at large to recognize the need for unity and diversity. The constitution that emerged after independence, though described as federal, was essentially unitary in character. It clothed the center with more powers at the expense of the autonomy of the states. Since the adoption of the constitution, the tendency had been to make greater inroads into the powers of states. This was facilitated by the fact that the same political party was in power at the center and in all the states except for short durations, and that too in only a few states during the last 3 decades, while the demand has been growing for greater powers to the states so as to make states' autonomy real and effective. There have been persistent efforts to erode even the limited powers of the states and reduce the democratic functioning of the governments there. The right of the people to manage their affairs even within the limited sphere allotted in the states list of the constitution has been sought to be reduced to a farce. For this purpose, all manner of pressures had been used, sometimes formally through the power of the center, sometimes indirectly by denying finances of other resources to non-Congress governments, and by applying pressure on the chief ministers of the Congress party through the organization and leadership. The process is now reached a stage when it threats to reduce the states to the status of subordinate departments to the center under the aegis of the Central Home Ministry. The actions taken in recent months sought to make it clear beyond doubt that the state ministries and legislatures faced the perpetual threat of being removed by hook or crook if they did not toe the line of the center. The issue of state-center relations has assumed a new significance in the changed political context. Different parties are in office in the different states and in the center. This is a welcome departure from the one-party authorization rule of the Congress. It is a part of the democratic aspirations of the people that federal principles should be correctly understood and applied so that this multi-party democratic pattern may survive in a country like India with such diversities in race, religion, language and culture. National integration can be achieved only through conscious voluntary efforts. Devaluation of powers may help ward off spurious tendencies instead of encouraging them. A strong and unified India can only be one in which the democratic aspirations and the distinctiveness of the people of the different states are respected and not treated with disdain. We are definitely for strong states, but no on account of do what we a weak center. The concept of strong states is not necessarily in contradiction to that of a strong center once their respective spheres of authority are clearly marked out to protect states' autonomy. Suitable amendments should be made to the effect that the legislature of a state should have exclusive power to make any law with respect to any matter not exclusively within the jurisdiction of the center as against the present provision which reserves this right to Parliament. In other words, the residual powers of the federation should lie with the units and not with the center. The states have to act in such a way while exercising their full rights in their own sphere that they do not transgress the spheres allotted to the central government. The latter too on its part should not interfere in the sphere of the states, both legislative and executive. While enlarging the scope of the state sphere, we must also try to preserve and strengthen the union authority by subjects that could be carried out by the union authority and not by any single state, such as defense, foreign affairs, including foreign trade, currency,